Hola, I am here at Castelo São Jorge. This is the castle in Lisbon. It's awesome and has amazing views. I definitely recommend it. But today I am here to talk to you about my experience at Sintra. So unfortunately I did not have the best time and I'm still pretty sad about it, especially since it's a top place here in Lisbon. So I wanted to share my experience so hopefully some people can learn from my mistakes. Okay, so first of all, I did not take a tour. It's like an hour train ride there. I ended up being lazy. I took a Bolt. So it was like 16 euro there and then 12 euro going back. I got a deal. So that worked out well. I started at Cafe Saudade for their famous pastries and scones. That was good, but then quickly it went very downhill from there. So I took an Uber. I was trying to go to Montserrat and I was waiting for this bus within Sintra and it never arrived. So I decided, okay, I'll just take an Uber to save time. Well, definitely cost me like half the day. So first, the Uber driver, he took me to a service entrance for Montserrat, which was like in the middle of the woods. He did not speak any English, and first he was trying to have me get out there. Then he kept saying that Montserrat was closed, which it definitely was not closed. And so we were trying to talk. For some reason, my live translate on Google Translate was not working, so it was just not going well. I was trying to show him the directions of where to go, which said it was only a 3-minute drive. But for some reason, he was very confused and was trying to follow the directions, but just kept pulling over and saying, it's closed, it's closed. So then after at least 30 minutes of this, I gave up and I said, okay, well, let's go to the next place on my itinerary, Regaleria. So he tries to take me there. Apparently, Google Maps does not function at all in Sintra, and the entrance it gave me was like this. It was kind of on the side of the road with no sidewalks on these winding hills. So somewhere it's very dangerous to walk, and it just looked like some sort of path off of that, but that also had a sign that was closed. So thank God he didn't leave me. Like, I'm grateful he didn't leave me. That's why I didn't dispute any of these charges with Uber, because it would not have been safe for me there. Like, I could have easily gotten hit by a car on these blind turns if I tried walking there and the road was closed. So that didn't work either. Luckily, there was a guy there that spoke English and Portuguese, and he helped translate and told this person just to take me back to the town center. So after all of that, in probably 2 hours at this point, then he ends up taking me just back to the train station so I can catch the buses there. So I go back, start over. I think I had arrived at 9 a.m., but at this point, I was just barely making my Regaleria 12:30 tour. And lots of lines. Regaleria was cool. I will say I was kind of surprised that it was built in late 1800s. It looks like it's built in like 1100 and has kind of a haunted vibe, and grottos and caves and wells. I'll share some videos. That was definitely cool. But then, so that was kind of highlights, but then it went a bit downhill again. So I went to Penna Palace next. Actually, that was good. I think I was just rushing because I had so many places to get through. I didn't have any issues with Penna Palace. The inside of Penna Palace was cool. A lot of people say it's disappointing. I think guides are just saying that because they're not allowed in anymore and they're telling people to skip it. But I actually thought it was cool, and there's some viewpoints you can get to from the inside of the palace that you can't do without that tour. So that was good. Yeah, you can't not see Penna Palace, I feel like. But I didn't get to do a lot of the hikes around the palace grounds because then I was rushing back to go to Montserrat for attempt number 2. So after that, I went back to Montserrat. Well, first I went back for the bus, which took forever, probably like an hour to get back. Then there's a bus driver there for the next bus, and so this was around like 4:45, and he told me that he wouldn't leave until 5:30, and the interior of Montserrat closes at 5:30. So I said, oh, isn't that when it closes? And then he was extremely rude to me, basically told me he's not a taxi and he has a schedule and he doesn't care, even though I was the only person there. He basically made me sit and wait until the interior was closed, and I obviously wasn't going to try an Uber, so I just went at that point. And so I got there at like 6 p.m. It closed at 6:30. And I will show you a picture of what the exterior looks like because it was completely covered in scaffolding. So basically, no one mentioned to me that I was going to a construction site and would not be able to see anything except the interior, but the interior was closed. So that was a total disaster. Then I was stuck up waiting for the shuttle for hours after that. So not a good time, total waste of time. I can't believe no one mentioned it. Like, once you see this image, you're going to laugh at what I spent hours going to go see. And not to mention my first Uber attempt was to go there too. So that was really depressing because people told me that's a can't miss when you go to Sintra, but I definitely missed it, and what I did see was not worth it. So yeah, with all of this in mind, I would 100% say you should probably still go to Sintra. I don't know if you could come all this way and miss this, but I would definitely go with a guide or a tour group because, well, A, they will be nice to tourists. Sintra has this reputation of not being nice to tourists, which I have now confirmed after my experiences, especially with this bus driver. It seems this one bus driver is like really getting around and getting bad reviews because I met some other Americans yesterday and they also experienced a rude bus driver. So yeah, obviously guides, they're either expats or they're Portuguese that like tourists, so it's a very different experience if you go with one. And you won't need to deal with the buses, they'll know where to take you, so definitely go with a guide. And believe the hype when they say Sintra, people do not like tourists because they do hate them, which I didn't think could be real because, I mean, what else? I don't know. Tourism seems like it's what supports the economy, but I don't know. It's true. So still go to Sintra, but take a tour and don't repeat my mistake, even though everyone says it's so easy to get there. And there is a train that goes. It's not easy and it's not worth it. So I will now share some of my videos from the trip so you can see how cool it looks. But just keep this in mind so you don't have a disastrous experience like I did. Okay, I'll share my videos now. Ciao, everyone. Okay, so first we have Penna Palace. So these videos are of the exterior of the palace. You can't argue that it is a very cool looking and very unique looking palace. It was built in 1838 on the remains of a convent, and the exterior was very cool. I'm glad I saw it. And I hope people don't hate me for this, but I felt like the outside could have been maintained a little bit better. There's a lot of kind of worn down paint, and there was a lot of construction equipment left everywhere in some of the major photo op areas. So that was disappointing. Next, we have the interior of the palace. I thought this was very cool and maintained better than the outside. Even though, as I had mentioned earlier, a lot of the guides were saying this is something you can skip. So let me know your thoughts on this. I'm curious because I thought it was worth checking out. Next, we have Regaleria. So this is a very cool place, built in early 1900s though. I looked this up because I thought it looked much older. So I'm wondering if this one also isn't maintained as well, which is very sad if it's not. But I think the standout of Regaleria is actually the grounds. There's massive gardens and grounds. I don't even know that I saw everything in the amount of time I was there, but it's very cool. And there's also the famous initiation well pictured here. So this well was built for Masonic rituals. I think this was a myth, but I did hear it mentioned while I was there that they would have people go down the well blindfolded, and if they didn't fall and die or fall to their death, then they would pass the test. But I think that might be an urban myth. But the well is very unique. I haven't seen anything like that. And then it leads into grottos. So that was very cool to see. So I would say Regaleria is definitely worth visiting. Another thing you can see in Sintra is the Moorish castle. I do not have video on that because I did not make it there with all the catastrophes of my day. I was considering going back with Remy because the Moorish castle is actually dog friendly, whereas everywhere else that I just showed was not dog friendly at all. So I left Remy with a neighbor while I went. But unfortunately, after just all the experiences I had that day, I decided against going back to Sintra. I think overall, Sintra was not for me just based on my bad experience, but I don't know. I still think if you want to go, take a guided tour. There are cool things to see there, and I didn't see everything. Just keep in mind, Montserrat is under construction until sometime in 2027, so I wouldn't even bother going there. And be very wary of taking Ubers or the buses in Sintra, and just go for a guided tour if you go. But yeah, let me know what you think after hearing all of this and if you have a better experience going to Sintra than I did. Ciao, everyone.